Welcome to our reading lesson. For our pre-reading activity, let us look at these slides. Tell me your feeling or emotion when you look at this picture. Do you feel happy? Do you feel sad? Do you feel worried? Or do you feel afraid? Let's look at another picture. Tell me your feelings or emotion when you look at this particular picture. Do you feel curious, angry, confident, or afraid? One last picture. Tell me your feelings. Do you feel hurt? Do you feel confused? Or do you feel afraid? All the three pictures evoke one common emotion. Can you tell me what is that common emotion? A picture of an ugly doll? A picture of a scarecrow? A picture of a scary little girl? Yes, that one emotion is afraid. All the pictures evoke the feeling of fear. So strong or extreme feeling of fear is called phobia. Can you name a few common phobias? So think of what are your phobias. One example of phobia is agoraphobia. Okay? Agoraphobia is fear of leaving home, fear of crowds, or fear of public places. So this is agoraphobia. Another common phobia, let's look at the next slide. Arachnophobia. Arachnophobia is fear of spiders. It is very common among us that we feel scared of spiders or insects. So this kind of phobia is called arachnophobia. One last example. What do you think of this picture? Can you guess what is the phobia? Very good. This is school phobia. Maybe it commonly happened to some of the students in the school. So now you have three types of phobias that you know. Let's have a look at the next slide. Let us recall what you have learned. Match the phobia to the correct meaning. Number 1, agoraphobia. Number 2, arachnophobia. Number 3, aquaphobia. Number 4, claustrophobia. And number 5, nitophobia. These are the meanings. Can you match them correctly? Okay, for number 1, agoraphobia. Agoraphobia means fear of open, crowded space. Number 2, arachnophobia. Arachnophobia is fear of spider. Aquaphobia. Aquaphobia is fear of water. Number 4, claustrophobia. Claustrophobia is fear of confined places. And the last one, nitophobia. Nitophobia is fear of the dark. Well done. So when we look at exercise like this, you have to remember, when it's difficult for you, you need to look for the clue. For example, question number 3, aquaphobia. Based on our general knowledge, aqua means water. Therefore, you can match that with fear of water. And another example is question number 4. Question number 4 is claustrophobia. So the sound of claustrophobia, the word close, almost have similar meaning to confine. By having an intelligent prediction, you will be able to connect number 4 with the correct answer, which is fear of confined places. And the last one, question number 5. Based on the sound that it produced in the first syllable, nitophobia. So night as almost have the similar meaning of night, which is dark. So based on this prediction, you can connect that as the conditions at night where it is dark. That's why you can predict the answer, that is fear of the dark. Okay? Good. Let's move on to the next activity that we have. Word power. Read the text about phobia and the causes of these phobias. Okay, so you have to refer to the handouts given. These are some of the difficult words that you might find in the text. The first word, diagnosed. Diagnose means to identify the nature of illness. The second word is palpitation. Palpitation means rapid or irregular heartbeat. Number 3, immobilize. Immobilize in the text here means unable to move. Number 4, desensitizing is make less sensitive to something. And the last word is ridicule. So ridicule, based on the text given, it has the meaning of the act of making someone to be laughed at. So these words will help you to understand the passage better. Let us look at the words again. Diagnose, palpitation, immobilize, desensitizing, and ridicule. Fill in the blanks with the words above. Number 1. May's heart pounds heavily, that makes her experience palpitation and dizziness. Let us try number 2. He is too panicked that he is immobilized instantly. Very good. Move on to number 3. One method to help John to overcome his phobia is by desensitizing him to the circumstances of his phobia. Do you get all the 3 answers? Well done. Let us move to the next slide.
There are many types and classifications of phobias. For example, agoraphobia is the fear of open spaces, which at its worst can trigger a full-blown panic attack. During a panic attack, an agoraphobic may feel physically and mentally paralyzed and be unable to think rationally or be in control of their physical reactions. The person's heart pounds heavily, and they may experience palpitations, dizziness, and cold sweats. All these uncontrollable symptoms may come on suddenly and can overwhelm a person even in familiar places like a relative's house or the supermarket. The unpredictability of these panic attacks often results in agoraphobics restricting and limiting their outings. The further away from the person's perceived comfort zone, the worse the fear becomes. A sufferer may attempt to leave his house, but unreasoning fear ultimately defeats his resolve, and, as a result, the sufferer may ultimately end up housebound. The origins of such phobias can usually be traced back to a life-changing, often stressful moment in that person's life. For example, experiencing an earthquake or being involved in an accident. Another common phobia is the fear of insects or reptiles. For example, the fear of spiders and other arachnids, such as scorpions, is known as arachnophobia. Many sufferers of arachnophobia report that their phobia originated with unpleasant childhood experiences, such as being bitten by a spider, being trapped in a spider-infested closet, or even having a spider crawl over one's body. This irrational fear may be carried on through to adulthood. During an attack of arachnophobia, the sufferer may feel dizzy, shake uncontrollably, and suffer rapid heart palpitations. He may even be immobilized and rendered unable to move or speak. School phobia is also a common disorder that affects many students around the world. Research shows that one child out of every 700 children will be afflicted with a severe form of school phobia by the age of 11 or 12. Children who suffer from school phobia may suffer psychosomatic symptoms such as stomach aches, nausea and vomiting, and dizziness. Such behavior was initially categorized and dismissed as mere truancy, and it is only in recent years that medical experts have recognized this as a form of phobia. Whatever the phobia and its cause, once the disorder is diagnosed, there is help at hand for the sufferer. Often, phobias can be tackled by gradually exposing and desensitizing the sufferer to the circumstances of their phobia a little at a time, albeit with much support and sensitivity. In the case of arachnophobia, the process involves taking the sufferer by the hand and going through a series of desensitization exercises, such as touching a plastic spider or looking at the pictures of spiders. However, this process cannot be rushed but must be taken one step at a time. Ask the sufferer for feedback and be prepared to repeat the process as many times as necessary. Be there to listen to and empathize with the sufferer's feelings and fears. It is important that the sufferer should not be subjected to ridicule or judgment regarding their phobias. Most sufferers are well aware that their fears are irrational, but they are nonetheless unable to control the real physical reactions to their fears. Be patient and understanding because the process of desensitization takes time. However, a professional diagnosis and understanding of phobias will give the person a chance to obtain the necessary therapy and treatment.
Now we move to the main part of the reading comprehension. In this part, you need to identify the keywords from the questions and try to find the keywords in the passage itself. Section C. Answer the questions given below. Question 1. From paragraph 1, how are phobias different from simple fear? So when you look at this question, you have to focus on the word phobias. And another keyword in this question is simple fear. This question requires you to look for the difference between these two. The first one will be the difference. The second part will be the effects. So based on those two keywords, where can we find the answers? Yes. Can you have a look at the keywords given? Phobias are feelings that are much stronger than simple fear. That is the first part. The second part of your answer for the effects. The effects will refer to devastating, even destructive impact on lives, not just on the sufferer, but for those living around him. So you can find two answers in the same paragraph. So how would the answer be? Look at the first part. Phobias are strong feelings that are much stronger than fear. Effects. Phobias can have a devastating and destructive impact on lives to the sufferers and the people around them. Question 2a. From paragraph 2, what are the physical symptoms of agoraphobia? So the key word will be physical symptoms. And question 2b, find the antonym of the word gradually. The key word would be antonym. Based on paragraph 2, try to find the physical symptom. Yes. They may experience palpitations, dizziness, and cold sweats. Those are symptoms. Next keyword. Antonym to the word gradually. This will be suddenly. Okay? Let's move on to the next slide. So how the answer would be? Question 2a. Heart pounds heavily and they may experience palpitation, dizziness, and cold sweats. Find the antonym of the word gradually. You just need to write a single word, suddenly. Let us move on to the next slide. Question 3. From paragraph 3, what is the source of agoraphobia? So the keyword is source. Let's find that in the text. Can you find any similar word to the source? Very good. The word origin is almost similar to the word source. Therefore, your answer can be taken from this particular line. A life-changing, often stressful moment in that person's life. How would you write the answer? So your answer would be like this. It could be traced back to a life-changing, stressful moment in the person's life. Question 4. From paragraph 6, how can an arachnophobia be helped compared to other phobias? So your keyword would be arachnophobia. Specific way to help arachnophobic. Can you find that in the text? Let us move to the text. Very good. Look at this particular line. In the case of arachnophobia, the process involves taking the sufferer by the hand and going through a series of desensitization exercises, such as touching a plastic spider or looking at pictures of spiders. So how do you compose this to become your answer? Let us move on to the next slide. So your answer would be by going through a series of desensitization exercises such as touching plastic spiders or looking at pictures of spiders. Question 5. From paragraph 7, state 2 ways that a person can help a phobia sufferer. So your keyword would be 2 ways. Let us look at the text. Can you find the 2 ways or the 2 methods? Look at the lines given here. Ask the sufferer for feedback and be prepared to repeat the process as many times as necessary. Next, listen to and empathize with the sufferer's feelings and fears. How do you write the answer? So look at this one. Ask the sufferer for feedback and be prepared to repeat the process as many times as necessary. So you can actually lift the answer from the text. B. You have to listen to and empathize with the sufferer's feelings and fears. Do you manage to get all these answers correct? If you do, well done. Let's move on to the next slide. Question 6. Apart from the phobias in the text, write one phobia that you know and explain how it affects the sufferer. For these particular questions, you really need to think outside of the text. Therefore, you really need your general knowledge about phobia. Let's look at the example of the answer given. One phobia given here is hemophobia. Hemophobia is abnormal fear of blood. The sufferer may dread the sight of blood of his own or others and may faint due to extreme fear. By giving this extra information that is outside of the text, you will be able to get 2 marks. So you have to be able to find the keyword. Make sure when you answer comprehension, you make intelligent guessing. You be able to answer the question. Make sure you look for the correct keywords in the questions and also the correct keywords in the text. I do hope that you find this lesson meaningful and beneficial for you. Thank you for listening.